Hi. This question is, do you deal a lot with student housing? I'm looking for an addendum attached to my lease agreement with limited liability because of shared living space. We actually don't do a lot of student housing. Student housing is very interesting, and I believe it can be extremely lucrative. Uh, this is all generalizations, but student housing is often attributed with folks who would pay more rent than you can get otherwise. So a student would tend to pay much more rent than you could typically get from somebody else. The turnover is, of course, fairly great, and it's not as bad as you think. So it would probably be yearly turnover. Hopefully, you'll actually have a large enough place that the tenants can kind of replace themselves, so you're not getting that yearly turnover. But if I had student housing, I would probably expect a yearly turnover. I would definitely make sure that you get the students on a 1 year lease. So, and encourage them that if they, because the tenants are likely not going to be there for a year. In the summer, they'll probably be going back to where they came from, to their home. Uh, if they let you know they're leaving and you can get in early, uh, let them know you'll begin processing their security deposit immediately. That way, they might be anxious to get their money back. You get to get in the property to get it fripped and do whatever renovations you have to do. And hopefully the tenants are still paying the rent until lease end because they're still obligated. So that's the one way it could actually work with that. So, but we don't do student housing. It's really difficult to actually do. I think what you're getting at is do rent by the room. Renting by the room is often not legal, and probably it certainly isn't really legal in Philadelphia. I'm not an attorney. I can't advise you on those lines, but yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be illegal, and it would just be a huge mess. So what I would suggest doing with student housing is to get all the students under one lease. And then as they want to drop themselves off of the lease, because one student wants to move out, you just create a whole new lease with all the current names. So you just get the other students to accept the final financial responsibility. So I would have a document in a addendum that would basically say, hey, these tenants are willing to take over the financial responsibility and let this other tenant out. So then you're covered. They're agreeing to take over the financial responsibility. I would probably make them acknowledge that they're taking over the security deposit themselves, and they're going to work it out. So if Bob wants to leave, and Bob is asking the other tenants to get a security deposit back, they would have to figure out, well, wait, Bob, I mean, what portion of the security deposit charges are your responsibility? But I would probably try to set it up that you're not the one who's having to go in there and figure that out, because logistically it would just be a nightmare. They're taking on financial responsibility. Hopefully they'll get a replacement roommate, and you can just put that replacement roommate on the new lease, and then you just always have a constant master lease. So that way you're legal. You don't have to deal with a million different leases, a million different tenants coming and going, because the logistics would just be wouldn't be worth it. So, all right, good luck. Happy investing.